Hey, how's it going? It's Chef B Live here, and I just cannot express my gratitude for this moment and where I am. Right now, I am in my hometown area of Loma Linda and Redlands, specifically Redlands at the Living Root Cellar. This new cool rockin' spot started out as a cold juice spot here in Redlands, and just recently they've opened up this bottom cellar part to serve raw foods. Awesome. It's a trip because I'm honestly kind of like the prodigal son to this area. Been gone for like 24 years. Started my celebrity raw food chef career, and I've never done any food here for the public in this area, which is quite interesting because I've been doing this for quite a while. So I'm just super thrilled to be here. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to create a Thanksgiving recipe for you to share, and I'm going to transcribe it and put it in the bottom of the video here. So right now, don't worry about the measurements. You can look below and find out what they are. But yeah, so let's just get started. First, I'm going to do the rice. It's a wild rice. It's the black wild rice that most people use in the raw food world. And what I did, this is really cool because this is a process that I've learned. I don't believe there's very many chefs doing it, and there's definitely not a lot teaching it from what I found. But what I did is I took the wild rice and I put it into a food processor. Now this one right here is a commercial food processor, so you probably won't have one of these at home. But you put it in the food processor with an S blade, and then you run it for about a minute to two. And what it does is it scores the rice. It doesn't break it up. It just makes little marks on it, so that when you add the water and when you soak it, it actually hydrates and actually becomes really digestible and a lot more like rice than your average rice that you're going to have out in the raw recipe world. So check it out, do it, and then once you do that, you soak it overnight, about 8 hours, and that's all you need. And at that point, you rinse it really well, and then you have some really nice rice. So I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to start making the gravy. It's a Thanksgiving style, Christmas style, aka holiday style, depending on what holiday you celebrate. But it's just really good for the flavor profiles that are available at this time of the year. So I'm just going to get started. So I'm going to use this Vitamix. It's a 2 horsepower blender. I always suggest using a 2 or 3 horsepower blender because then you can get it really creamy. Now if you have a regular blender, you definitely won't get it as creamy. It will work, but it might not last very long. So I definitely suggest to get a 2 or 3 horsepower blender like a Vitamix, Blendtec, Ninja. There's a few out there on the market, but it's a very good investment for your raw food kitchen. So I'm just going to get started with adding some soaked almonds. Now these almonds have been soaked for about 15 hours. I always soak them between 12 to 24 hours, rinse them very well. It activates them, puts them into their germination, sprouting stage. So that way it makes them more digestible, gets rid of the enzyme inhibitor. Enzyme inhibitors are interesting because they actually are in most nuts and seeds, and they keep it dormant until they come in contact with water, so that once they come in contact with water, they start becoming alive. And so at that point, once you've soaked them for their determined time, all seeds and nuts have a different time. And you can find them either in my book, there's a chart, or you can Google it online and find different charts for what you need to soak or sprout your nuts and seeds. But then rinse them and get rid of those enzyme inhibitors. So the next thing I'm going to put in is I'm going to put some cashews. These are truly raw cashews. They're hand-holed. Most cashews out there that you buy that are raw are not raw. So look for hand-hold cashews. You might have to go online to find them. Might have to be creative to find them. But if you want truly raw, definitely look for them. Now these have been soaked for about 6 hours. You can soak cashews 3 to 6 hours. You don't need that much time because all white nuts don't have enzyme inhibitors. They're the only ones that don't. So I'm going to set this aside, and this is going to be a crimini mushroom gravy. So I'm going to add some crimini mushrooms. Criminis are baby portobellos, just so you know. Cool, so now we're going to get into the spices and the flavors of this holiday style gravy. First I'm going to put the water in. And now I'm just going to start adding all of the spices and whatnot. First one, this is thyme. A lot of holiday dishes have thyme. And we're just going to go through the herbs first. Some parsley, sage. We're going to do a little out of order. And then rosemary. So that would be more like thyme, parsley, sage, and rosemary. I think that was right. Maybe it wasn't. Who cares? So now I'm gonna add a little bit of, this is some ground garlic. This is a powder. And to kind of give it a really cool flavor profile, I'm gonna add some fresh garlic as well. Now I'm gonna put some onion. This is dried onion. Put a little bit of fresh onion, a fresh white onion. Now I'm gonna put a little bit of black pepper. Now this is coconut aminos. You could also use namashoyo. Either one works. And if you don't do them, you could add a little more salt. I'll add an option in the transcribing notes below. But this is going to be a little bit of nutritional yeast. Gives it a buttery type flavor. The last two ingredients are very important in marrying flavors together. Olive oil serves as that purpose. So a little olive oil will do wonders for changing the flavor and bringing flavors together. And then of course, the most important creature of the flavors is the salt. Now, you don't want to put too much because you don't want it to be too salty. Now this is high mineralized salt. This is a pink salt, and it's also known as Himalayan salt. But you can use Celtic or Celtic salt, depending on how you pronounce it, or you can use sea salt as well. So yes, so usually with Vitamix, there's a plunger that helps get the stuff moving well, but I lost mine, so I'm gonna have to use a spatula. Now when you use a spatula with a blender, be very careful because you do not want plastic in your recipe. So let's just get started. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn it on a low speed so it chops up the ingredients in there, and then I'm gonna turn it up so that it can make it creamy. Yeah, now I'm just going to take this and I'm going to mix it into the rice. Mix it up really well. It smells so good. I almost want to disappear back there and just eat this right now. Great, so now that it's mixed up, I'm going to set this aside and we're going to get started on the marinated portobello mushroom. So yes, so this is going to be very simple. I already have made a marinade and marinated the portobello mushroom. But I'm going to show you how I did it. I took some cold pressed olive oil, used a little lemon juice. These are some lemon granules, a little bit of salt, same kind of salt, some smoked paprika, some onion flakes, some garlic granules. This is some white pepper. We're going to put some black pepper as well. It's kind of cool to put them together. They taste really good together in some recipes. And then the very last ingredient, I'm going to put some coconut aminos in here. You could use namashoyo again. Now, I'm just going to whisk it up. Whisking it helps it emulsify. There we go. And last but not least, is I'm going to destem the portobello and then cut it in half. So we have 2 pieces to marinate. Stick it in there, and also at that point I'm just going to mix it around, get it submerged in there, turn it around. And then yeah, at this point, I'll mix it up a couple times within the next hour, and then after an hour it'll be marinated. It'll be perfect. Set it aside. And so now, the last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a cranberry pomegranate sauce. I'm gonna use the Vitamix again. It's a really easy, simple recipe. I'm gonna use pomegranate seeds, cranberries, put a tiny bit of salt in it. Same kind of salt, Himalayan or pink salt. You can use Celtic or sea salt, of course. That's some lemon juice. And then I'm going to put some coconut nectar. You could use agave or coconut nectar. Yay! Now I'm going to keep it on a low so that it just breaks it up and chops it up really nicely, because I don't want it to be processed too much. I want it to be chunky. And yeah, it's much more like a relish like that. So now I'm just going to add some to this plate that I've already garnished and decorated. Voila! Yummy alternative to any meat dish. If you want a raw vegan Thanksgiving recipe or a Christmas recipe, then this is definitely a great one to have. So, if you're in the Inland Empire area or anywhere in Southern California and just looking for a really cool spot to come eat some amazing RAWKin food, the Tatted Chef, aka Everett Smith, is kicking it here and making some amazing food. And you know what? December 21st, in the holiday season, he and I are collaborating and we're gonna make an amazing, awesome meal here. So come check it out. December 21st at 7 p.m. And you know, if you're driving anywhere between Los Angeles, Palm Springs, and Joshua Tree area, it's right off the 10. And this place is so cool. I'm just so grateful to have found it, and I'm so in gratitude to be rocking it here. And other than that, I think I want the owner to try this. Would you like to try it? Oh, yay! Woohoo! So this is, I would suggest trying to get some mushroom and the wild rice together. Yeah. Rebecca and her husband are just doing some amazing things here. They got cold pressed juice upstairs, some of the best recipes that I've had at a raw restaurant, thanks to Everett. And oh yeah, she's really liking it. So I'm just gonna let you out. Thank you so much. Yeah, rock star out. Love you guys.